has become dramatic in Afghanistan, and it is changing quickly.
Joining us now to talk about it is DePaul University history professor and security analyst Tom Mockaitis. Tom, thanks for joining us this afternoon.
Hello.
Let's start with this. Did the U.S. government actually misread the situation on the ground in Afghanistan?
I think they're surprised by the speed of the Taliban advance, but many experts were saying after the surge in 2011 that this was an unwinnable war. And for some time, we've been trying to get the Afghans prepared for our eventual withdrawal. And to some degree, they have just not taken that warning seriously enough.
And Tom, you have pointed out that the United States over the last 2 decades has spent $2 trillion equipping and training Afghan forces. And here we are. How do we get to this point? And where did that training or where did the equipment go wrong with the Afghan forces?
Well, a couple of things. For one thing, although the spokesman for the White House said they have a large army, that's on paper. The big problem is corruption is huge. I mean, anywhere from 10 to 70%, depending on the regional location and whether it's police or the army, are what are called ghost soldiers. They exist on paper, so whoever's in command in that area can collect their pay, but they don't really exist as a fighter. The other problem was we created a force heavily dependent on American air power. And so I've talked to American and Canadian military personnel who've said the biggest problem they had was getting the Afghans to fight their own war. They were perfectly content to sit back when they ran into trouble and call and wait for American helicopter gunships and ground attack aircraft to come in and take the Taliban out, which worked as long as we're there, but it has left them singularly unprepared to fight a ground war, which is what we're seeing.
Tom, what does this kind of instability mean for the region abroad on a wider scale?
Well, it's certainly going to have a spillover effect. Pakistan has made a devil's bargain and is going to pay for it, because when the Taliban's done consolidating power in Afghanistan, you can expect it to expand into Pakistan as well. The Russians are already beefing up, along with the Tajiks, the northern border of Afghanistan, and the Iranians are equally concerned. Because what the Taliban have done very strategically and very, very shrewdly is not only to take the cities, but to capture the border crossings in the west and the north, which is isolating the major cities. And I'm afraid, I think it's only a matter of time before they strangle Kandahar or Kabul itself. That doesn't mean, however, control. That's a little misleading. The fact that they've eliminated the government presence doesn't mean that they have a good control of the ground itself. There's a lot of factions. The Taliban itself is not unified. There are numerous warlords. The sad thing is this country is likely to be in a state of internal conflict and civil war for some time.
Well, the United States got into Afghanistan several administrations ago here to fight terrorism. What does that mean for the safety? You described the safety of the region, but what about the rest of the world, namely the United States?
I think, well, we just saw a report from the Department of Homeland Security today, which warns that the biggest threat we're facing for the foreseeable future is homegrown domestic extremism on the far right. So I'm not really concerned in the short run. I have a suspicion the Taliban may have learned its lesson. They want control of the country. They realized that by harboring al-Qaeda, they brought the wrath of the U.S. down on them. We will not go back in the next time with ground forces. We'll go in with over-the-horizon weapons, cruise missiles, drones, things of that nature. They may very well decide it's just not worth it for them to allow too much activity by ISIS in Afghanistan on their territory. Whether they can control that, whether they really have as much control over the territory they're now trying to occupy is anybody's guess. We're in for a period of instability. I don't expect it to immediately result in terrorism, but it could in the long run.
And Tom, just in short, your briefest answer here, how alarmed should we be about this Homeland Security Advisory? Americans are seeing it for the first time just in the last hour or so.
For those of us in the field, it confirms what we already knew, and that is for the last year or longer, white supremacists and other far-right extremist groups pose a persistent and pervasive threat within the United States. It's more likely to manifest itself as lone wolf, low-level, small-scale sorts of attacks, but it's likely also to be persistent. So it's a major cause for concern.
Okay. Tom Mockaitis, thanks so much for your insight. We appreciate it today.
Happy to do it.
All right, take care. Well, on